Let's do the matters arising, but start with what's happening in the dailies. Let's start with the Ghanaian publisher. It says NPP picks Bawumia for 2028, and this is a report on what happened on Saturday when the NPP across Ghana went to the polls to elect former flag bearer Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia as its 2028 flag bearer out of 5 contestants. So he won with over 56%. The closest contender, Canada Japan, polled 23%. Dr. Brian Achampon, the new kid on the block, had 18%. And then Dr. Edichum polled 1% with Engineer Kwabena Japan picking the 5th place. So that's how it went, and this paper is reporting. Get details of that on page 3 of the Ghanaian publisher. And then one other thing related to this whole primaries is the minority leader. He is hailing Dr. Bawumia's victory and is calling for unity. I'm sure you've heard some of these things going on in the party. I've read on social media people saying that he must go. Others say you cannot touch the minority leader because he's doing an important job for the NPP in Parliament. But he, the man at the center of it all, is calling for unity. He says this is the time the NPP must unite ahead of 2028 because you cannot win any election in Ghana when you are fragmented. Well, there are details on page 2 of the paper. NDC applauds NPP's well-organized election, and that letter was written by the chairman, Asiedu Nketia. He is also touring the country as well. And Prophet Uche's 56% Bawumia call comes to pass. The Chronicle, it's Bawumia again. It is possible. Spirit reigns. And it comes with a beautiful picture of Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia there. Okay, so that's it. Get details on, in the Chronicle for that. Police refuse 120,000 cedis voter cocaine bribe. The story is on page 3, and we're told that they wanted to bribe the policeman who did the bust, but he stood on his ground to refuse the particular money. Okay. Daily Graphic, Bawumia set sight on 2028, rallies NPP for battle, and in his speech he said it was time that the party comes together. And just before he spoke, all the other contenders came to, pledge their support to him, and he's saying that he will rally on that support and get the party united, because if they don't unite, then 2028 they should forget it. So the flag bearer is calling on everybody, and I've been reading that from yesterday. Various meetings have been happening towards the unity of the NPP. Let's see how that goes. And the Daily Graphic goes further to say that he won in 14 regions in this primaries. Well, UMAT confers honorary doctorate on Ibrahim Mahama, and this is for his role he's played in the mining sector and also for philanthropy. And they've gone ahead to set up, I think, a center for precious minerals, and that center has been named after Ibrahim Mahama. You know that Ibrahim Mahama is CEO for Engineers and Planners, and that they've done a lot of work in the mining sector, especially in the Takwa Enclave. So this award came off on Saturday, and that's it there. Daily Guide, Ibrahim Mahama gets UMAT honorary doctorate degree. Tokunu Ekwa's case court reject AG's objection to amendment. So the story is that the former Chief Justice wanted to amend her suit at the ECOWAS court to include that when her case was pending before the court, the government of Ghana still went ahead to remove her as the Chief Justice and also as Justice on the bench. But the Deputy Attorney General objected to that amendment, but the court disagreed with him and agreed rather with former Chief Justice Tokoro that, yeah, she can amend her suit there. Her lawyer, I'm told, is Fola Falana or so. She's handling that. NPP flag bearer race, Bawumia grabs clear victory with 56%. That race was tough. So he being able to grab 56% of the votes, the delegate says it was a clear victory with 56% of that vote. Nana rallies NPP for Bawumia. That was from his speech at that particular ceremony that was held at the headquarters. And I missed my prophecy going for counseling, El Bernard says. He says he's going to go off the podium for a while. Let's do myjournline.com. And running makes not a reward for second place. Miracles Abuaje says. Ghana leads call for $100 billion annual adaptation finance. And Brian Achampon didn't shake Bawumia. He split Kennedy Japan's base, Miracle says. While Brian Achampon's entry held Bawumia in the NPP flag bearer race, Miracles Abuaje is explaining. And if you look at the figures, it tells you that Brian Achampon really worried Kennedy Japan the more. But there are more questions about, is he going to be that kid on the block after Bawumia or what? We get into those details with my guest shortly. Do do other? Oh, I think we'll end here. MPA increases price floor for February window with petrol up to 9 cedis 99 pesos, and diesel pegged at 10 cedis 95 pesos. Why is that? MPA, when someone says go down the price floor, you are rather increasing the price floor. Hey, MPA 4, you don't want us to enjoy the benefits anyway. Joining us on the table this morning is Vicky Bright. She's a lawyer and an entrepreneur. So that's her behind me, lawyer Vicky Bright there. She's been in governance circles for some time and also been in legal for a long time now. That's lawyer Vicky Bright. She'll be joining us on the table. Also, we have Dr. Kwabena Bomfeh. He is CEO of CenCES and also a lecturer at UPSA. That's James Kwabena Bomfeh. A lot of you know him as Kabila. He's a, you want to say the second Kweku back, all right? He comes into studio with a lot of documents. He knows a lot about Ghana's political cycle, just as lawyer there. So they will help us do the review of what the topical issues are. And you know, today we're focusing on the NPP's presidential primary and matters arising. There's a lot to unpack from that particular primary. The Brian Achampon factor, prophecies and what they do mean for such primaries, and Dr. Bawumia's win. What does it really mean for the NPP and its focus on 2028? Let me assume my seats now, and then we can get into the real issues on the table this morning. Okay, so let me welcome the two of you. Good morning, lady and gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning. So as all is well?
All is well.
You had a good weekend?
Yes, yes. And you?
I had it was a very
Busy.
Yeah, it was a busy weekend. Because before I went to cover the election, I had to go and do some power somewhere else before I came. So it was quite a very, very hard one, but it was fulfilling too. Let's start with Bawumia's win, you know, and what that means for the NPP. Victoria, you've been with former President Kufuor before, and so you have a lot of insight into how the NPP works and what have you. What do you make of Dr. Bawumia winning the flag bearer and to lead the party into 2028?
Okay. I mean, first of all, I mean, you know, I am not surprised that he won.
Okay.
Let's put it that way, because the delegates that voted were substantially the same delegates that elected him previously. So unless he did something terribly wrong, really, they were going to vote for him again. And really, that's all he needed to do to win. The only question was by what margin, you know. So I'm not surprised that he won. So for me, winning does not fix NPP's problems. There are many problems still within the party, but it does solve one problem. It removes the internal uncertainty about who is going to lead the party into 2028.
Okay.
And between now and 2028, I think voters will be watching the party to see whether it's going to confront head-on the reasons why it lost the elections, or they are going to merely repackage the same old faces, the same old habits around the same old problems, but then hoping for a different result. So one of the questions that the party must answer for itself is whether the selection of Bawumia is going to be a genuine renewal and rejuvenation project for the party, or whether it's going to be just a managed continuation.
But what do you see? Will it bring that renewal the party?
Well, I mean, that one will depend on a lot of things. There are several hurdles ahead which he has to deal with. And I think the way and manner in which those hurdles are tackled is what will answer that question. So, for example, he has to unify the election. You cannot go into elections with a fragmented base. Okay. So that is one big problem that he has to tackle. And he also has a structural challenge. Okay. Because, you know, there's a dichotomy. He embodies continuity and change at the same time. That's, and that is a difficult problem that he'll have to overcome. I say that he embodies continuity and change because he is someone who was an integral part of the old administration, of Nana Addo's administration. And he's already tried to explain that away in 2024. He said that, yes, I was there. Yes, I was the head of the Economic Management Committee and all of that, but I was not the driver. There was someone else in the driving seat. I was just a driver's mate or an aplanque. But that argument did not hold with Ghanaians. So he has to come up with something more credible than that, and something that is capable of closing the trust deficit between NPP and Ghanaians. Okay. You know, so having explained that away, he also has to explain to or convince Ghanaians that he's also an embodiment of change. So that is, you know, it's a difficult problem to navigate, and it should not be underestimated, because you can't talk your way out of a trust deficit. There has to be some behavioral change which is credible for Ghanaians to buy that. He also has to reorganize the party. They have to reorganize and repurpose themselves. And it's a huge task. It has to be the kind of reorganization that is not just cosmetic. You know, it has to be credible, and people have to see that, yes, the party means business. For example, how decisions are made within the party. They have to really seriously look at that. How dissent or disagreements are dealt with, how candidates are selected, how accountability is enforced internally. All these things are important. And I feel that between now and 2028, there are some further questions that the NPP needs to ask itself. Who are they really appealing to? Which Ghanaian? Is it the youth? Is it women? Is it the masses? Is it the middle classes? Who? Is it everybody? I mean, they have to be very clear in their mind who their targeted audience is. And also, they have to own some of their mistakes publicly. There are some mistakes, I accept, that political parties deal with privately, and that's fine. But because of what happened, because of the economic pain and hardship that Ghanaians suffered, etc., they have to own some of their mistakes publicly. So they have to decide which of these mistakes they are going to own publicly, and make some concrete admissions that signal that without being defensive. You know, without being defensive, they have to make admissions that signal that they've learned from their mistakes. Ghanaians love humility. Yeah. You know, so they have to do that. And so for me, I think that ultimately the flag bearership race is really NPP's moment of truth. They have to renew themselves. they have to build trust with Ghanaians. If they repeat the same mistakes, it's going to send them back into opposition. So, so I guess these are my initial comments on the whole thing.
Dr. Bomfeh, what do you make of Bawumia's win?
Well, I think, first of all, it is a win for the party, NPP. A win in the sense that compared to the 2023 primaries, this was accompanied with less incidents on voting day.
Yes.
Okay, so contrary to the doom prophecies that prophesied bloodshed and so on and so forth. So it's a win for them as a party. The conduct of it, the smooth manner in which it was done, coalition, and largely the acceptance on the part of the other aspirants. And I understand each one of them placed a call to the victor or the winner and gave reassuring words. And then they did a kind of a public, get together at which the final results were announced. What it means, I think my sister Vicky has highlighted a number of things that ought to be done. I would only say that, you see, flag bearer is a bearer of a flag.
Yeah.
So no matter how good, competent, suitable, perfect the bearer would be, if the flag is unattractive, you will have a problem. So you have the debate of messenger message coming up that one has to make sure that is aligned and realigned properly. And I think that by and large within, they would admit that the New Patriotic Party that some of us watchers knew between 1991 when they metamorphosed from the Dan Kwabuzia Club into a properly formed party in 1992, running through to about 2005. And the party assumed a certain posture thereafter and then came back to sponsor a winner in 2016 after losing out, which for me showed a certain trend that almost all the party-sponsored candidates since 1992 don't go beyond the threshold of 2 terms in an office, to the extent that when Professor Mills died in 2012 and a new face, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, took over, he could only do 1 term to make up, to add to that of Professor Mills, to make 8 years, 2 terms, and he was kicked or voted out. In 2024, the scenario has been misconstrued to mean a vote out. It is not true. Bawumia was not the president. He was vice president who was now a candidate. So it was not a vote out of a president who was seeking re-election. But of course, when it comes to the analysis on the 2024 election data, I think a lot of people have had quite a number of things to say. You would see that it was not the NPP-sponsored candidate's worst performance in this 4th Republic. If you look at the data carefully, in 1996, out of a parliament of 200 seats, the NPP had 61. That represented a percentage of about 30.3. In 2024, you have a 276 seat parliament. They had 88. That represents 31.6. So if you look at that, you will see that 2024 compared to 1996, in fact 1992 doesn't come up because it was 0. And you remember all the parties that were not part of the Progressive Alliance boycotted. And then you had a few independent. So if you look at it, and then the presidential, in terms of percentage score, 41 obviously wasn't the West in their history. They've had 30.3, they've had 39.6, that is in 92 and 96. And then in 2024, which was the first time that party was sponsoring a vice president who was now a candidate for their party in a general election. But this, I'm doing this to show that even the narrative that accompanied their primaries did not reflect a faithful recount of the election's outcome in 2024. Otherwise, some of the things that some of them said would not have been said. Definitely, that flag has issues. It has punctures, they need to fix them. It needs to reorganize itself, and I think my sister said it, Bawumia should be able to be seen. Not only do, he should also be seen to be doing what will rally them around a united flag, what will take out the triggers of disunity, and also reposition itself as a political party that understands the issues Ghanaians are grappling with and offers solutions to them. I want to recommend to them that they will require 3 key attributes to do that. Number 1, magnanimity on the part of the winner and his team. Magnanimity. Humility on the part of all of them. Magnanimity because, you see, when you win elections out of this kind of contest that people were questioning your credibility, people were questioning your capacity, people were questioning your sincerity and so on and so forth, you can only be magnanimous to be able to stretch out the olive branch and say, look, yes, this was said about me, but hey, no problem. Reagan did that in America. His main contender was George W. Bush. George W.H. Bush, the senior. Eventually, he became his running mate 2 terms in office. So it is possible. Of course, in 1998, His Excellency John Ajekum Kufuor was contested by some of, including his own brother-in-law, J.H. Mensah, who said something that was far-reaching and yet he became senior minister in his cabinet. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the main contender, became his attorney general and became minister of foreign affairs for a long time. So it's about magnanimity. And we have seen it manifested by somebody like His Excellency J. Kufuor in their party. Elsewhere we can say others, Professor Mills also, but we're not discussing those ones. But for here, that has been done. Then the humility part. It is something that we need. Efremamu said something in one of his songs that ahobrase, humility, that's ahobrase. Ahobrase, if you look at it well. It is taking yourself below where you really are for the strategic purpose of attaining a bigger or a broader object. Also, it is something so little and yet so meaningful and so impactful. So they need that. Then the third one I say is acceptance. Accept the reality. Denial is dangerous because to deny is to repeat. But when you accept your state of dissatisfaction, you'll be able to work a way out and take the initial steps that will take you out of that. If they do that and they allow the core object of nation building to be their focus and understand that I could be wrong. And so definitely there were errors in the past that they need to work on and re-identify with people, especially the people-to-people relationship. Look, if there's anything that stood out so well for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama in his first year in office, it's not so much the economic indicators that look good as the humane posture. Okay? Yeah. And you know,
the first year of this term.
I'm telling you, yes, I'm talking about. So it is something, it tells something that when you have a relationship with people, when you go wrong, they have a way of saying it.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a relationship with them and you go wrong, they have a way of saying it. They must look at that. I can only wish them well and say that in building the nation, it will not take any one group of people alone. It will take all of us. And in the spirit of sports, Usain Bolt and his companions gave us an example. As the world sprint record holder in 100 meters, his best run was not when he ran alone. When he ran alone in 2009 in Germany, he had 9.58. But in London, when he ran with others at the 4x100 meters, they had a record of 36.84. If you split that for the four of them, each will have 9.21. If you take 9.21 seconds and compare to 9.58, of course, the best record or the best run will be 9.21. So in the words of Helen Keller, alone you can do so little. But together, you can do so much. It's my piece of advice to them.
I'll go to Dr. Adomako Kisi, but let me ask you this. I'm sure you've seen the video making rounds of Brian Achampong calling Dr. Bawumia.
Not only him, I think the others.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I saw them do press conferences.
No, I think Kwabena Bomfeh called, and I've seen a video of
Kwabena Bomfeh also called. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, I've seen that of Brian. I think that is what is on the screen. But I mean, do you see from those videos we've seen that there's some genuineness to unite the party for 2028?
Of course. I'm saying, I think I made mention of that. The conduct, that's why I said this one is more of a win for the party NPP than just one person. The conduct, the way they've conducted themselves. All the discussions today will be about the positives of it.
Okay.
Because that's what they have offered us to do.
Yeah.
If there had been any, misdeeds here and there, that would have taken the shine out. That's why I said, compared to 2023, this was an improved election. Their conduct post the election is showing that some lessons have been learned. We can only wish them well and hope that they will help in supporting the nation to deepen our democratic culture.
Okay, all right.
And build the nation.
Let me come to Dr. Adomako Kisi. You were with the Brian camp, and I've heard a lot of people say, wow, that you really did well. The Brian team came up with some good numbers that a lot of people were not anticipating that you will. But from the election, from the speeches that have gone on, everything that is going on from Saturday, you are in it. Do you see the genuineness of a party that, like Dr. Bomfeh said, the flag is tainted a bit, trying to, rally around the flag and make it better, appealing to Ghanaians?
Yeah, so first of all, let me say good morning to the panel. Very nice submissions. And then good morning to your listeners and viewers. You have a very wide viewership. So I'm always happy to be here. And then let me, more importantly, commend and, as it is, congratulate His Excellency Dr. Bawumia on his win, and also the win for the party. And I must also admit that the delegates who voted and the aspirants have all conducted themselves quite well. So I'm very happy this morning. I must also say that it is very important that those who have lost and those who have won, the followers, more importantly, conduct themselves well, so that we can come together genuinely, as you've just stated. Some would come not with a clean heart, but I'm hoping that many will come around with a clean heart, so that we do this thing or execute or prosecute 2028 very well. To borrow from some of the commentaries, I mean, I think the minority leader has also come out to talk and to emphasize the need for unity and the fact that with the NPP, when diverse opinions are not brought together, or as it is, people with different, ideologies are not brought together, we don't do well. from Lehman's time. It took up till J. Kufuor for the party to really come together to win. And then subsequent to that, in 2008, when there was a bit of fragmentation, we didn't win. So at any point in time in our history, when there are fragmentations, we have a problem. And this is a point in time where in the 2024 elections, we dipped in terms of our numbers, close to 2 million votes that we were hopeful that we would have gotten. So we certainly have a lot of work to do. And I think that in many instances too, many times the flag bearer going into the second time rather improves in numbers. But we're looking at 56% as compared to 61, or which we were hoping. I mean, some of the initial commentaries were 73%, which the posters were given. So it makes a case for a need to work hard to bring the other, as it is, 40+% on board, so that we can come together as one party. And in all of this, I think that my major message moving forward in the days upcoming is the need to come together. And I think, Dr. Brian Champon, right from the get-go, was very particular about how we conducted ourselves in our campaign, so that it will be very easy for us to come together post January 31st. So once we'll champion that. And I think that all sides, including the Kennedy and the Duchums and Engineer Kwabena.
In fact, yesterday, Dr. Duchum went to his house.
Correct. Because I mean, these are all part of the gesturing and the reception and the way forward. So kudos to the 5 gallant aspirants, and then congratulations to Dr. Bawumia. Fantastic comeback, and I'm prayerful and hopeful that we can all rally. We have to all rally behind him and work towards that one single goal of improving Ghana's democracy. And I think that in part of some of the narratives, in fact, Dr. Brian Champon also called Kennedy in some of the Kennedy, yeah. And he said that democracy has won, and that is what it's like a sport. So we who play, if Kotoko wins today, it doesn't mean that hell has broken loose. If Hearts wins, so really we all have to enjoy the victory for the party and forge ahead. And rebrand the NPP. Without a doubt in my mind, it calls for a moment of reflection and a need for rebranding and a change in the narrative, so that we'll be more likable as a party, very agreeable with the Ghanaian people, and I think that in all of this, the party has won.
Okay.
And we all have to stand firmly behind the elephant.
If subtly and behind the cameras, some of you wouldn't do things that will hurt your own party, you would see. Because
that's why I said genuine.
Yeah, because I'm aware of some people and their pronouncement on some private platforms saying that, well, the NPP is not ready to win power with Bawumia. So I'm like, well, in the cameras you show us something else, but behind the camera there is something else that's playing out.
And NPPs.
We like I said, we need a lot of rebranding, and in fact, I must admit the candidates may be very ready, but sometimes the challenges, the followers who had very entrenched positions and are feeling a certain way. So I think that Kennedy.
But in the end, mustn't your love for your party come first?
Kennedy put it rightly that he knows people are pained by what has happened, but he prepared himself. He's lost many times, So he prepared himself and prepared for the worst. But now that, these things have gone on, he who has spent even the most, he's tried to be calm. So I'll plead with all of the followers of the various, aspirants. And I think, to borrow from Dr. Bomfeh, the bigger onus is on the victor. They have to really ensure the integrity of the other aspirants and their people are intact. That is really what it comes down to.
By magnanimity. The important word there is magnanimity.
Yeah.
Because you see, if you are not magnanimous, you will take some of the things that some of the people did to heart and say, well, he was very abusive, he was this. But when you are magnanimous, you don't see that.
Like Kufuor was.
Like Kufuor was. Like Jesus teaches us, Christians, to do.
Yeah.
You see, and I sometimes just not, you see, when I hear people who launch attack, bigotry in the name of Christianity, I ask, do they understand Christianity? That a Christian will never accept this person. Jesus Christ.
So we should love.
Who did he not accept?
He came for sinners.
So how can you say that me, I'm a Christian, I will never vote for such and such a person? Are you Christian? Is that Christian talking? So magnanimity, and that's happened the point that we need to stress that it is out of magnanimity. But that also should tell us that we should be mindful of words we utter. Because words uttered cannot be unuttered at the same time.
Yeah.
So we must be very careful.
Internet doesn't forget.
Exactly. And our old people say that Techrema and Pro. They said it long before internet came.
Yeah.
We are Gen Z-ish. We are Gen Z-ish. So we'll say internet or social media doesn't forget.
Okay.
We are TikTokers at heart now.
All right then. Yeah. Let me bring in Professor Smartsap on, because he also did some polls ahead of the election. Let's look at the number. He mentioned that they were expecting that at least, flag bearers do get around the 61s to the 70s. Dr. Bawumia is getting 56. It means that there's a lot of work to do. But does the number really say a lot about what Dr. Bawumia can and will do?
Right. A very good morning to your good self, to our panel, and to our cherished viewers across the globe. I think that in such a very highly competitive contest, the score secured by the winner, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, was a reflective of a strong win. A strong win. If you compare it to the 2023, you might say he has reduced in percentage-wise. But remember that in the last time it was just a horse race, clearly. But this time, the inclusion of Dr. Brian Champon, we all saw from the beginning that it was a very, it was going to cause a very serious change in the numbers. Anybody who underscored Dr. Brian Champon or discounted him wouldn't have followed, I'm sure would have followed the kind of campaign that he was doing. In fact, he really decided to touch the hearts of the delegates. And it is, for me, not too much of a surprise, the kind of outcomes that he is securing. What is overly surprising to almost everybody following the numbers is the fact that he could do that which he did, and in addition, win a whole region. The Volta region fell completely to Dr. Brian Champon. As for where the votes were going to move, it was clear that it was going to move from Kennedy more to Brian than it moving from Bawumia to Brian. But I think clearly he secured some votes from both ends, and that is what is accounting for the massive show. So 56% for Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is a very huge, massive endorsement, unless anybody tries to discount the capacity of the two, the stature of the two that contested, the main two that contested between Brian and Kennedy. So for me, he has done well. He has secured a very complete mandate. And what is quite refreshing is that the comment of the two, Ken and Brian, immediately after the results were declared, tells that the two are ready to partner with Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia to procure a very united campaign in 2028. What is now outstanding is how they, the leaders, would communicate and get back to their base, their people, to have them also come to that same level they are. Usually the gap is created between the leader and the people. The last time in 2024, whereas Kennedy Japan himself had declared openly that he was all in for Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia's campaign, he left his people, and majority of his people were not with him on that. I have evidence of instances. Let me say one. In the Brekum Jene Drobo line, towards the Sampa line, I was trying to review the work I did before I published, and I had to do some short meetings in those areas. So I clustered some people around that area, and I was like, what I'm seeing is quite strange. The members of parliament have higher chance of winning than the flag bearer. The gap was as much as 50%, some 75%, and flag bearer Bawumia is doing like 20%. I was like, no, it doesn't usually go like that. So there should be something, either my data is wrong or maybe. So I wanted to have a few. Then this man would say this, trying to be very professional with the reasons. And an elderly man got up and said, Professor, here in this line, we are showdown people. Showdown for. It is about Bawumia pese odin kunim woye ha say anymore. This one no agya ni o ye bia betena ha. Ebe any campaign. I was like, wow. And you could see the elderly man was so blunt, straightforward. The rest were trying to, oh, maybe is this, maybe is that. But that gap could well be explained by what the elderly man told me.
But they forgot that will hurt the party itself, not an individual.
So no matured mind along that line will buy that campaign. You come to me and you say, vote for my PC, parliamentary candidate. But as for the presidential, I don't know who you should vote for. You can vote for anybody, or perhaps vote for President Mahama. If the person is going to vote and knows very well that your candidate will be orphaned when he gets to parliament, and he wouldn't want his constituency to be an orphan constituency, he would vote as well for the parliamentary candidate. All right, so that is the number of ways by which the disconnect between the leader's decision and their fan base could cause the party. So it's not just enough that Dr. Brian has openly, and I know he as a person really means what he has said, including Ken. But what I would plead of them this morning is that if they mean it, they should go down there to their people and get their buy-in. They should be at the same level where they are. If not, you leave them down there and they are causing a lot of harm to the position you have taken. That is perhaps a lesson they could take from the 2023 into 2026 and going forward. Again, they didn't have enough time to unite in 2024. I'm sure now they have quite a lot of time. In fact, if by the close of the year 2026, getting into 2027, there is someone who has still not decided to join the party and still so furious and dissatisfied with some things of the party, that means that person is as good as being left out of the race. But from the numbers point of view, I think it was a close call. The prediction was 57.2 for my end. And the confirmation was 56.48, let's say 56.5, so close. Then we have Kennedy side. The prediction was 24%. He got 23.76. You can round it up. 24. Then Dr. Brian Champon, the prediction was 16.8. He got 18.53. And you could see clearly that the undecided 1.3 or the undisclosed 1.3 all would have gone for.
So in your survey, the undecided was 1.3?
1.3. Okay. 1.3. Then Dr. Educhum, the prediction was 1.4. He got 1.02. Okay. The prediction for Kwabena Japan was 0.7. He got 0.2. So once the whole numbers are confirmed, we can assign the dots behind the how do you call them, the figures behind the dots,
The decimal
numbers. We can call them errors, and usually errors are just the variation between the prediction and then the actual.
Okay.
And every research is not the actual. Every research would have to make room for a variation between what you think is going to happen and the actual data. It's only God that knows the actual, even from the start of things. So this is fair. As far back as 20th of December, this data was released, ready. I usually do my work 30 days to election. The aim is to help those working to know what to do, to be guided by it. And so I usually get it, I usually find it quite surprising that they don't do so much about data, and then we get some of these predictions confirmed like this at the end of the day. They should work with data, seriously. Okay. They should work with data.
All right, thank you very much. And in terms of healing,
yes.
I hear that Reverend Tim Fojo proposed the 31st January and was seconded by Dominic Nitiwo. So it means that call for 31st January 2026 was right, because as you say, they have a longer time to do the healing.
So sincerely speaking, if I find people disagreeing with an outcome of a properly constituted body or council, I find it quite strange.
It's within their right.
You have to first query the constitutional basis of the body sitting and the constitutional basis. Once those things are right, just grant that they also meant well. Grant it. It's one party, and I'm not sure you would mean too well than those who sat in council. Now, the vindication is that some of these things that we are saying the internet will not forget. They have got to hear it or seen it 2 or 3 years to the election. So they can handle some of those things, try to react to them in a way that would convince,
mitigate the
effect. So that by the time it gets to 2028, a lot of the effect of those things would have been mitigated slightly. So this, for me, is a smart one. You are in opposition after all. What do you need all the time? What will you be doing with all the time if you wait till perhaps 2027 before you elect your flag bearer? In fact, I would even advise on your show here this morning that it will be wise for the party to elect parliamentary candidates, especially for those at the orphan constituencies, early. I made this advice way back in 2021, 2022, when they got 137, that you don't need to delay. Elect your orphan constituencies and let them start some work at the constituencies. Yeah. I'm giving that same advice. Now you have only 88 or so members of parliament.
Now 87.
Now 87.
Okay, because we lost the
one.
Right. 87. Only 87. What would the PCs, I mean, wouldn't it be good if you elect PCs so that in the other constituencies, some work gets started? This same issue of division that might arise through primaries, when you do it early at the constituencies, it can as well be.
I thought you were even going to recommend that MPs not be touched. That is
the sitting MPs.
And that's another possibility.
I probably was going to get that. He's looking at the office.
You see, it's been my two most important recommendations. In fact, three. One is to
leave them alone.
For the leader, for the flag bearer, to select a running mate early, as soon as possible.
Okay.
And I would suggest that he doesn't change his running mate. It's my personal suggestion.
Okay.
I mean, the stress you go through in selecting a running mate, you have done that. Why would you want to go through another stretch of stress? So it's my personal suggestion. My second suggestion is what Dr. Adumaku Kisi just said, Dixon. In fact, there will be no political reason, or it will be strategically wrong to touch the 87 MPs.
Okay.
I mean, are you just interested in competition? You don't go with strategy. Strategy will require that secure those 87 constituencies, don't touch them. If anybody in the party suggests otherwise, that person will be strategically wrong, in my view. And I'm speaking this time as a political coach, I know what I'm talking about. Then the orphan constituencies, any further delay, I know by now they may want to start from the base up to the national. If they have anything to do, they should do that very, very fast so that as soon as possible, orphan constituencies get parliamentary candidates. At least it will, not to negate my own advice, but it will destabilize the peace of the majority. You'll be there and you hear that a PC is doing something in the constituency and you have to run back to your constituency. You have to run back. So those three advice, if they are listening to us this morning, they should take it very, very serious. Get a running mate. And my proposal is that do not change your running mate. Number two, secure the 87 members of parliament. There will be no political reason why you should create unnecessary competition within those 87. And then the third one is do everything possible to get your orphan constituencies parliamentary candidates as soon as possible. Latest by a year by now, 31st or so, maybe February 2027, they should have finished all their internal process and should have elected PCs in those orphan constituencies. I mean, you can't be anywhere below some of these recommendations. Else, you may not be politically strategic, in my view.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.